Most highways have minimum speeds, too.
That's right.
Yeah, there's that.
I didn't know that. Because, it's never posted.
Radio is now in session. Call 215-227-2727. When you...
Good morning and welcome back. A week after our live show right here in the studio, we had, 20 or 30 listeners who
I thought it was like 50-some-odd folks, Dean. It was packed.
It was.
Yeah.
We fed them. We gifted them.
Yes, we did. We advised them. You advised them. We entertained them.
You were definitely entertaining, Manuel.
It was a good year.
Within this year.
We'll be back again in 6 months for a live show.
For sure.
Yes.
6 months?
Yeah.
6 months.
6 months, y'all.
Maybe less. I don't know. Sometime in October, whenever the radio station does their big shindig in October.
Oh, yeah, the celebrating sisterhood.
Yeah.
We
usually tag on to that. Good morning, folks. I'm Dean Weitzman. This is Court Radio, and I am your host every Saturday morning right here on 100.3 WRND.
And Classics 107.9.
We have the full complement of Court Radio staff.
The firm?
The firm is in the studio. Good morning, Manuel.
Good morning, Dean. How's your weekend thus far?
Not bad. I had to fly back up from the shore to get to the studio today.
Fly back up from the shore.
That means not driving slowly, not driving 55.
You were driving 100 today. You were.
Speaking of
easy.
How long does it take to fly from the shore?
I made it in 1 hour, 20 minutes. 1 hour, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yes. God bless Waze.
That's my favorite app, too. Yeah, more than any other.
It gives you the best ways to go. But, yeah. Oh, Dean, you're so funny sometimes.
If you say so yourself.
Yeah. Well, speaking of going fast on the highway, we have the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania has weighed in on a cyclist's ticket. Could you imagine?
I don't get this.
You're a bicyclist, you get a ticket, and somehow you fight that ticket all the way to the Supreme Court of the Pennsylvania. Might as well be the United States. You fight that ticket, and they take your case. Remember, folks, when you take an appeal from the trial court, your first stop is the Superior Court of Pennsylvania, right? Well, actually, technically, it's the actual trial court because you ask them probably to reconsider their decision. They deny you, and then you go to the Superior Court of Pennsylvania, which is our middle appellate court. Mm-hmm. You have to get through, the middle appellate court before you can file your request for an appeal to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does not have to take your appeal. Regardless of how meritorious it is, the Supreme Court decides what they deem to be important enough because they can't hear all the appeals that people want to have them listen to. So the Supreme Court then decides to take your case. So this bicycle ticket went all the way up, and on a 5-2 decision, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania overturned a Butler County. Where the heck is Butler County?
Oh, I know what Butler County is.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
You do not want your butt in Butler County.
You're on a roll today, Dean.
They took a bicyclist's ticket and they overturned it. The bicyclist had gotten a ticket because he was on a road and he refused to pull off to the side to let vehicles pass. So a police officer put his sirens on and pulled the bicyclist over and slapped him with a $50 ticket for failing to move over and make room for cars. And that ticket made its way to the Supreme Court.
So now that it was reversed by the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, now does it set a precedent?
Yes. Yes. Now, no police officer can ever again give a bicyclist a ticket in Pennsylvania for failing to pull off to the side of the road to let traffic by. Bicyclists now have the right to take the lane. They can possess that lane, and the cars have to stay behind them and putter along until they have an opportunity to pass.
All right, but we're also talking, folks, about highways.
Well, yeah, they have a right to take the lane. However,
What highway?
well, I want to say this. There are certain highways in Pennsylvania where you must maintain a minimum speed. So I'm not sure how these two rules of the road now can work together.
I don't get it.
If it's an interstate, you could assume that an interstate highway.
I think 45 might be the lowest speed you can go on, let's say, the turnpike.
Right.
Okay, so if a bicyclist can't travel at 45 miles an hour, which of course they can't, then they don't have a right to take the lane on the turnpike.
Gotcha.
We're talking specifically about pedal bikes.
Pedal bikes. But how do you how can you do research on what the lowest speed, what the minimum speed is on the highway?
That's a great question. I'm sure if you go to PennDOT, you might be able to find that answer.
Okay.
You might. And if not, you can call your state senator.
They'd love to hear from you.
Call Vincent Hughes and ask him.
That number is.
I can give you his cell number.
I bet you could. So I want to be clear now. We're talking about all roadways, interstate highways, city roads.
Yes.
No cyclist has to move over or speed up, and no driver has the right to what? Make them or beep them to move over? They have to respect the cyclist.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Now you know. Because this is something that a lot of folks think has just been thrown on us who drive these cities, and you have to share with the bikes and the bike lane thing. This takes it to another level. I've never heard of anyone wanting to drive on the expressway.
Okay, well, I had a bike case this week, as a matter of fact, and it sort of dovetails into this, and that is that the bicyclist was, I'm trying to remember the facts of this case now. The bicyclist was traveling across an intersection, and the car coming in the opposite direction was he and the bicyclist were coming towards each other. The bicyclist wanted to cross over a intersection, and the car was coming and wanted to make a right turn at that intersection. The car made the right turn, and the bicyclist crashed into the front corner of the car. Okay, and the question was, is that bicyclist entitled to be compensated? Was the car negligent in failing to recognize and see the bicyclist and yield to the bicyclist as he crossed the street? And it comes down to this. Bicyclists must follow the rules of the road. Why was the bicyclist traveling in a lane that cars were coming towards him? And the answer was, I believe the bicyclist shares, if not all of the responsibility, most of the responsibility for that accident, because he could have been, this was a 2 lanes in each direction road, crossing a 2 lanes in each direction road. So the bicyclist, if he wanted to cross the street, needed to be on the opposite side of the street, cross over the road on that side, going in the same direction as the traffic.
Or he should have been in the intersection and signal. You know, they have the hand signals
in the intersection.
Well, like let's say you're on the road and
yes. It's a 2-lane road.
It's a 2-lane road.
Yeah.
So you have to stay on your side of the road.
Yes.
And make the left at the intersection if there's an intersection.
Correct. Right. That's correct. You have to take the long way across the intersection.
Right, exactly.
You can't cut across by going into opposing traffic and then heading. That doesn't work. You're not following the rules of the road.
Right. Correct. So you have to now, if you're going to be a cyclist nowadays, it seems like you have to adhere to these rules. So the question remains then, Dean, should cyclists get insurance?
Well, they do have insurance.
Should it be mandatory?
No, they do have. Well, no, it's not mandatory. But if a cyclist has homeowners insurance, not auto insurance, because it's not an automobile. It has no self-propulsion system that is recognized that needs to be registered with a license plate. Those are the vehicles that can get insurance. Anything that does not have to be registered cannot get insurance. But should you have insurance in your household, homeowners insurance, and you're responsible for an accident, you're driving across the street, you run over a pedestrian, or you run over somebody getting out of their car, stepping out of their car, and you're going so fast you don't see them, and boom, you hit. If you've got homeowners insurance, your homeowners will pay for the negligence you've committed in that act,
or wherever you reside. If that location has homeowner insurance, let's say you're 19,
you're living with mommy,
living with mom. Mom
Yes.
has homeowners insurance. That homeowners insurance will cover that.
That's correct.
bicyclist.
You better get the bicyclist to stop and call the police to report the accident.
Well, I even have another question. So, going back to bicyclists needing to follow the rules of the road, if there's a red light and a bicyclist goes through that red light, can a cop pull that bike over and give that bicyclist a ticket?
Absolutely.
Doesn't
Absolutely.
happen.
Because as I said when we started, at some point in this conversation, I told you that the bicyclists have to follow the rules of the road. So if a bicyclist goes through a red light, they can certainly be ticketed. Yes, and should be.
Are there categories? Cyclist, pedal bike, electric bike? Is this a different designation?
No. Most electric bikes
Electric scooter.
are governed by maximum speed in Pennsylvania of 28 miles an hour.
Right. We've had this discussion.
And so no, they're not deemed to be motor vehicles. There's no motor there. Well, there is a motor.
There is a motor.
There's electric
An
motor.
electric motor,
Yeah, electric motor.
Yeah.
And it can be self-propulsion.
Yes, but it's not deemed a registerable car.
This is getting a little dicey, I think. This
Well,
area.
It's a lot of nuances.
Yeah,
There
a lot
are
of-
nuances.
And it's in some contrived. It's
You don't like bikes, do you?
I ride them all
Manuel?
the time. Yes,
Come
I
on.
do. No, I ride my bike.
you're
Every day after work, I'm on a bike. Really.
Yeah?
Every night after I get off work, I ride the bike.
How far?
To the down to the museum, around and back.
Okay. You
Every
put
night.
like 5 miles or so in?
4.5, if that.
Yeah.
Most nights I do the whole thing, but I at least get to the museum and back. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that's why I'm asking this question, because I see them so much now, and I pay attention now, and especially the delivery guys
You ever
who don't
see-
follow any of the rules.
You ever see a foreign country?
Yeah.
Bicyclists
Everywhere.
They're everywhere. I mean, that's mainly how they get around.
Because the roads are so tight.
Well, and they don't have enough money to be buying cars.
I think it's
and
been-
buying gasoline.
I think
and
it's just
stuff
been
like
part of the
that.
culture forever in Europe, for instance, and other places. Just the way it's always been. Here,
Yeah.
not so much.
No, but I think it's moving in that direction.
Oh,
is.
easily.
Yeah,
That's why I think I don't know what the rules are in Europe. Maybe they have the questions I'm asking now. Maybe they do have insurance for cycling. I don't know, but
No,
it
that's-
just sounds like it's getting more contrived.
maybe you can open up an insurance company and start this. This might be a new
For
business
cyclists.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyclist insurance.
Yeah, there you go.
It's been stolen now. See, someone's got it. The intellectual property.
No, well, it's in the ether, so you own it. We
Yeah.
can prove that you
Cyclist
came up with it.
insurance.
We can prove it.
Glenn Weitzman and Tactics.
There you go. We can start offering insurance. We'll replace the bike if it's damaged. We'll give them medical insurance
There
if
really
they're
is no
injured.
category, is there?
No, there's no bicycle category that
Do you
I'm
think
aware
there
of.
should be?
I think you're onto something here, and I don't say that often, especially with your ideas. But
Yeah.
this time, I think you have something, young man.
You do.
Yeah.
It's,
By
but it's funny,
George.
to be honest, you thought of it and gave it to me kind of technically.
Okay.
all right, kind of technically.
All right, just give me some credit.
Cyclist insurance.
Yeah. there
No
you-
fault?
No fault.
No fault.
Yeah.
Because cyclists cause accidents.
Yes, they do. Occasionally, they
Yeah,
do. Not
yeah.
too often. It won't have to be too. It won't have to be too expensive. The biggest expense probably would be the medical portion of it because they do get injured a lot. Yeah. 215-227-2727. I forgot to tell you the number, folks.
Yeah, that's important.
Oh, they
That's
know it.
the number to call right now if you've got a legal issue or question that you've been pondering and you need an answer. We'll give it to you.
And where else are you? People could actually look at you right now.
I don't know if there's anybody online. Dion, is there?
You too.
Yeah, there is.
There
Good morning,
is.
everybody.
Good morning.
Dion says there are viewers. There you are. Viewers who can see us on YouTube live. All you got to do is right now you go to the MyPhillyLawyer website, click on Court Radio. That'll bring you to the Court Radio webpage, and boom, there's a link right there to go live on YouTube, and you can not only hear us, but see us in the studio as we get antic.
Some wild
Antics.
and crazy guys.
My God, did you just date yourself, Steve Martin? Steve Martin, Dan Aykroyd, okay.
So anyway, we're done with bikes. If you got a bike question, give us a call, 215-227-2727. I want to talk for a moment about the difference in insurance between New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Let's.
Okay, I know it's a throwback to the old days, but we haven't talked about it in a while, and it came up this week. I have a client who was a New Jersey resident, and she had an accident. Was not her fault, and she has about 6 months of treatment with a chiropractor or physical therapist. She had an MRI and an EMG. An EMG is a test to test whether you've got nerve damage. They actually put these little metal probes into your limbs, whether it's an arm or leg, and then they put some electricity through. When you get like one of those.
That was good.
Yeah, like you look a little.
Your pop lock days.
You get a little jumpy, right? And they measure how fast the electricity goes down your limb, and if it's slow, then they know there's some damage, and it's not something you can fake. It is either there or it's not. You've had that done, right?
I've had that done both in my feet and my hands due to my neuropathy.
Yeah. And so in any event, she had the MRI, she had the EMG, she had some treatment, and then she was done.
Right.
She did not move on to the more, I don't know how to, let's see, the more significant treatment like needles that they would inject substances into your spinal cord to reduce the swelling. Okay, it's a steroid that they put right into the location where there's an inflammation. She did not have that done. And so the question is she entitled to a recovery? And the reason I ask that is because she's in New Jersey, she's verbal threshold. What does that mean? It's similar to our limited tort. In order to collect anything, in order to collect from the at-fault party, you must prove that you sustained a serious injury, a permanent loss of a bodily function. And the question is, did that level of treatment and their test results substantiate that? Now, the point I'm bringing up is in New Jersey, if you don't sign the form saying, I want zero threshold or no lawsuit threshold, if you don't sign that form, they automatically give you verbal threshold. They automatically give you that lawsuit threshold. Whereas in Pennsylvania, because we had better lobbyists at the time, if you don't sign a paper in Pennsylvania, you're automatically given full tort. In order to have our limited tort, you must sign asking for it. In New Jersey, if you don't sign anything, you're automatically given the lesser of the two. She did not sign. She got the lesser of the two. And so the adjuster and I, or the insurance company, we were arguing over whether she pierced that threshold. Now, here's the cool thing. The adjuster actually was advocating on my behalf with her manager and supervisor in order to get authority because of the relationship that I have had over the years with that adjuster. She respects me. She believes that I'm a fair guy with the insurance industry, and that I'm not overplaying my hand. And she went to bat on behalf of my client, and we were able to resolve that for $25,000 this week.
Good for you.
$25,000 on a case many carriers would have said to many attorneys, "No, we don't think this pierces the threshold. If you want anything, file suit." And so a couple things here. One, make sure if you want zero threshold in New Jersey that you actually sign the papers to get it. And number two, if you've had an accident and you expect to get a recovery for that accident, it's best if you call me rather than anyone else.
But she had the accident. She's a New Jersey resident. She had the accident in Pennsylvania, correct?
No, she had the accident in New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
Yes.
But if she had the accident in Pennsylvania,
if she had the accident in Pennsylvania, she would have been zero threshold. She would have not had that limitation.
right.
Yes. That limitation applies when you're in the state of New Jersey. Interestingly, in Pennsylvania, if you are in Alaska, but you happen to be struck by a Pennsylvania insured, you're still limited tort in Alaska. Yes.
Because it was a Pennsylvania
insured
driver.
Right. So it doesn't matter where you are. For a Pennsylvania insured, it doesn't matter where you are. It matters who hits you.
Right.
And so if you're hit by an out-of-state driver, our laws only protect Pennsylvania drivers from the tort threshold system. And so there are nuances on both states that are very important. And you better have an attorney who focuses his practice on motor vehicle litigation on a regular basis if you expect to have somebody who knows what they're doing.
Stupid question. I live in a neighborhood where
No stupid questions.
There are a lot of folks with out-of-state tags in my neighborhood. Jersey especially, Delaware, whatnot. Are they mandated to change that at some point?
Well, that's another question.
If their primary residence is Pennsylvania,
Definitely Pennsylvania.
then they have obligation to register and insure their vehicle in
I
Pennsylvania.
think they have 3 months?
No, not even.
Not even.
No?
Yeah, it might be 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah, it's a pretty
10
short
days.
period. Yeah.
Oh, my
So
neighbors
it's pretty-
this neighbor's riding around for years with these tags.
Yeah, that could get him jammed up or her.
Or her, yeah. All right.
215-227-2727. Let's talk to Kenny on line 1. Hi, Ken.
Good morning, Dean.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well.
What's your question?
I'm an aggravated driver.
Welcome to
I can
Join the club.
I can
Join
relate.
the club.
Yeah. What now? What's aggravating you today?
As I listened to you in the beginning, you said the Pennsylvania Supreme Court just.
Yeah.
My whole issue is that they don't pay for repairs of the road. Cyclists. You pay registration fee. If you go through a red light or a stop sign, you can get a ticket. You get a ticket if your inspection is expired. Cyclists get nothing.
Got a point?
Yeah, he has a point.
And it's up to the police discretion to give them a ticket if they go through a stop sign or a red light.
Which
Yep.
they
Or
do
if
all
they
the
just,
time.
if they do all the things, if a motor power vehicle did the things that they did, the state would be rich.
I
Would
agree.
never become.
I agree with you, Kenny. I agree. You're
And so when I listen to that, I'm like, well, what is our recourse as drivers? Because that's my whole issue with. It's not that I hate cyclists because I ride my bike sometime too.
Mm-hmm.
But this group, I give you an example. What's this? June last month, I'm riding, and a cyclist decided to come.
You got me in suspense.
Hello?
yeah.
He came in front of me. I had my left turn signal on.
Yeah.
And he just decided, oh, I'm going to go cut in front of him because the cycle lane was there. I was way ahead of him. He sped up. I wasn't doing 65 or nothing. It was on a residential street. And he decided to just cut in front of me because he wanted to stay in the bicycle lane. But I had my signal on. If I didn't have my signal on.
Was it a one-way? Was it a one-way street?
One-way street?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So he pulls to your left.
I didn't just.
He pulls to your left and
didn't
tries
just
to overtake you.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
If that
So
was a car.
yeah. Well, he'd be the bicyclist was at fault in that case for 100%. He was at fault. And so the question is, he damages your car. How do you get paid? And the answer is, if he doesn't have homeowners, you're not getting paid from him.
I feel your frustration.
But they can. I mean, you're giving them rights like they paying for.
Yeah.
You went through Jersey. You paid a toll, whether you use Easy Pass or cash. I do the same thing. You go through the PA Turnpike. You paid a toll. And that fixes the roads.
I wonder if they,
I
wonder if they even pay tolls.
No, they don't pay.
They don't
tolls.
pay any tolls. No.
All right, Kenny. We
got you, bro.
We got your feeling.
And we can hear and feel your frustration.
We got you.
We're gonna start charging bikes something, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
And they got to be
You
insured.
got to.
Yeah. All right.
Have a good one, Ken.
Hey, Dana.
All right.
You got another caller?
Yeah, we got another caller.
Yeah.
Because
But we're at the
We
break.
Are we at the break? I feel
Yeah.
his pain. Listen, I go through red lights. I get it.
In your car?
In my
Whoa,
on my
whoa.
bike. And I'm one of those guys. Remember the guys the delivery guys on the bikes back in the days with the downtown with just paper and stuff. Those guys, those cyclist guys.
Yeah.
They had a movie all about them. Silver Streak. I'm one of them guys. I weave in and out of traffic, but I'm responsible with it. I take my chances. And I get where he's coming from. Sometimes because of the curb cuts right on the sidewalk sometimes, but you're responsible. But he's got a point. We have no responsibility for anything.
All right. That's a part of your insurance program. We're going to figure this out. Folks, we'll be back. We got sponsors to talk to you for 2 minutes, just 2. But if you're listening on YouTube, we're going to go right through the break. We'll see you back here in 2 minutes.
Still on YouTube. How y'all doing?
Yes, YouTube.
Just a comment from Keenan. He said that.
Can we lower the volume in the studio so I can?
Ken? What's up, Keenan?
Just a comment from Keenan. He said Google Maps rules when you were talking about Waze, and then he said I was
Google Maps.
man.
Come on.
No.
Toad, no way.
Waze over Google. Ask that question on the air.
Yeah.
Waze over Google Maps any day.
I'll bet you he has an Android phone. Keenan, do you have an Android phone?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Keenan,
he
I don't
has
know.
to
Do
have
you
an
Android, Keenan?
Come on. That's the only way he'd pick Google
Sarah,
Maps.
Waze or GPS or Google Maps?
Oh, so I choose. Wait,
Waze or Google Maps?
Google Maps because Waze eats up a ton of battery.
Do you have a iPhone?
No.
You Android people, you
But
know.
it's funny because
That's the only way you have Google Maps is if you're an Android.
Easy has both an iPhone and an Android, and he does not like iPhone for getting around. He uses it on Android.
Keenan says yes. Androids rule.
I knew it! I knew it!
Android's rules.
Hold on. Ask him if his wife has an iPhone or
He
Android.
doesn't have a wife.
Yes, he
Guys
does.
who have Androids
Yes,
don't
he
have
does.
wives.
What does Mrs. Harmon have? Tell the truth, Keenan. Tell the truth. Somebody in that house has an iPhone.
The only people who care about this are iPhone users.
Right.
We Androiders do not walk around.
Y'all
going,
the ones that
"Ooh,
bring it up.
Yeah.
No, it's iPhone. We
No.
never bring it up. We
What
don't
we will
care.
give you have a better camera.
So Keenan has a Google Pixel 9. He says Android
Google
family, so his
Pixel.
wife has an Android too.
Oh,
lastly,
bam.
Lastly, he says I was pulled over in Rehoboth.
Rehoboth. That's Delaware.
Pulled over in Rehoboth Beach on a bike for stopping, looking both ways, and then safely proceeding through a red light, giving a warning but no ticket.
He was pulled over for
Wait, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
What did he say he did?
He stopped at a red light. He looked both ways,
Right, and he went
then
through it.
proceeded through the
No, you
red light.
can't do that.
Oh,
No, you can't. Nah, I can't do
dude, in Rehoboth, are you crazy?
no.
You're lucky you didn't end up in handcuffs,
Right?
All right, here we go.
dude. Oh, sorry. Yes, sir. We're back. I am Dean Weitzman, your host every Saturday morning right here on 100.3 WRNB.
And Classics 1079.
Home of iPhone users.
Yeah, you don't have a microphone yet, but we might
That's
give
all
it
right.
to you.
Thank you.
We had a great break on YouTube. You got to start listening to us and watching on YouTube. Keenan had a good question about Waze and Google Maps. Well, it really wasn't about that, but we made it that. I don't know. I use Waze.
Same here.
What do other listeners use? I can't get around without it. I try to even remember to use it when I'm going somewhere where I don't need it. Like I'm going from home to work. Of course, I still know the way to get to work. Maybe when the brain starts to go a little further.
Even during the summer, you know how to get to work?
Even the question is, sometimes you have a traffic jam somewhere and you don't know that, obviously, when you leave the house. You are falling apart today, young man. And so I use it sometimes just to figure out the best way. Like it might tell me go down, Kelly Drive or MLK Drive versus going down the Schuylkill because the Schuylkill's backed up. So
I'm going to tell you why you like it. Red light camera ahead.
Yes. Speed camera ahead.
Red camera ahead.
I've reset myself, speaking of that, when I don't go often on the boulevard any longer, but when I'm on the boulevard, I become a different driver now.
Now you do.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
a different day.
40 miles an hour. That's it.
And you grew up in the OC.
Of course.
You know the boulevard.
Of course. The boulevard was my everything.
Mm-hmm. Big changes now. Huh?
Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to some questions we have here, and then we're going to move on to another topic about the School District of Philadelphia. Let's talk to an old friend. Line 4, Velda.
Hey, Velda.
From Brookhaven.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Velda. How are you, dear?
I'm fine, and hello to the whole team.
Hey.
Just wanted to do a follow-up. Several months ago, I called you about a recall for the Honda cars.
Yep.
And it was something called oil consumption. So I'm giving like a public service announcement to all your listeners. If they have a Hyundai, they need to look up and see what make they have that does have a recall that ain't recalled. And after a few months of doing some testicular fighting with these people, I ended up getting a new engine in my car.
A new
So
engine? A new engine?
Wow.
Yes.
How old's your car, Velda? Velda, how old's the car?
My car is 10 years old, and my
You got a
warranty
new car.
is 10 years
Got a
or
new car.
100,000 miles.
Oh, my
Gotta
Lord.
give you this.
Yeah, damn, Velda.
Yeah. So your listeners can Google oil consumption for the Hyundai car.
All right.
Hyundai knows about it, but they're not trying to tell you about it.
Sounds good. Hyundais, if you got a Hyundai, give Velda a call in Brookhaven.
Or at
She'll
least-
guide you through it.
At least look it up in Google or something.
Yeah. A new engine on a 10-year-old car
That's
is
impressive.
phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. That's only because you're a court radio listener. You're feisty. You know what to do.
And guess who I called? Jay Berger.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah, that's my man.
Velda.
That's my
You're
man.
getting brownie points today, lady.
Yeah, Jay Berger over at MyPhillyLawyer.
Yes.
He handles everything.
Yeah,
He's the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
He's the
Is
gatekeeper.
that what Jay is?
Yeah.
He was a very good listening ear. He gave me some good advice, and I want to thank him on the air as well.
All right.
All right.
If he doesn't hear it, I'm going to pass it on to him. Velda, be well. Thanks for listening all the time.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
215-227-2727. That's the number for MyPhillyLawyer all week, but it's the number for Court Radio right
now.
this second. However, if you call during the week, you get Jay Berger on the phone.
Yeah, he's like on Thor. He's like Heimdall.
Yeah, he's always. I think that might go over his head. I don't know if he's a
Yeah,
Marvel
no,
guy.
no.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
if you know, you know.
Yeah.
I know this. I don't know what he does, but he talks forever. So
he can talk.
Yeah,
especially
so-
if he likes you.
Jay can be on he might handle 4 callers a day.
That's how
okay?
much.
I've had some long conversations
look at him,
with Jay, man.
I look at him and I'm like, what do you do? What do you do? But I need somebody like Jay because there are people out there who have a story to tell, and he's the guy who listens to the story and then
can tell a
figures
story.
out where to put you.
And he knows everybody. He knows all the resources.
Yes.
Even within MyPhillyLawyer and outside of MyPhillyLawyer, he knows all the resources.
Yeah, Jay's the keeper of our, I'll use a throwback term, our Rolodex. You know, we develop relationships with other law firms around the city and also around the world.
Right.
And so when somebody calls and says, hey, I need a lawyer because this problem happened, and it's some esoteric problem that we just don't handle. Jay knows the specialist in that problem in Philly.
Yep.
And that might happen, in Virginia. We have like Virginia Council that borders Pennsylvania. They send us clients from wherever Virginia borders Pennsylvania, and we represent those folks. When we have clients in Virginia, we will get involved in a case in Virginia, and we'll be handling the case with that law firm in Virginia. Right. That happens. You need to have a law firm that has connections.
That's right.
Yeah. Connections, relationships matter.
Yeah,
they do.
That's my Philly lawyer. All right, let's talk to Eddie on line 2.
Good morning, Eddie.
Eddie,
I want what's coming to me.
Oh, Eddie on line 2. No?
Eddie's gone.
Eddie is gone.
We lost Eddie.
We don't have the beep, beep, beep thing, though. No. All right. And we're not going to get it either. You made sure of that.
And we're not, no.
No. Eddie's question, wife got into an accident with his car. Car is totaled. Only had liability insurance. Both cars stayed at the scene. Well, that tells me half the story, Eddie. Because my first question is, well, how'd the accident happen? Who's at fault? If the other car is at fault, you got an easy way to go. I mean, then their insurance should pay your damages.
But then what if it's like kind of comparative negligence situation?
Well, then he might get a piece of the pie. And if his wife is 51% at fault in Pennsylvania, he gets 0. 0. So it really depends. The fact that they stayed there is good. I guess they exchanged information. But if the other car has insurance and they're at fault, then your car is paid for. But if your car is not paid for, I presume the other car is not at fault.
And we're going to also presume that if there wasn't a police report, that they actually stayed at the scene and took pictures.
Yeah, because you should do that, as Tactics is correct in stating. Pictures tell a nice story. All right, let's talk to Anonymous on line 3.
He's back.
Oh, Anonymous.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, hi. I have a question. Well, actually a problem. In 1987, I received a summary for the retail theft accomplice.
Retail theft accomplice.
You were boosting?
Yes.
Boosting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in 2009, I filed to have it expunged, erased, or sealed. And that was like 22 years ago before I did that. Now, recently, about a month ago, they had an expungement fair in Philly.
I remember that.
Yes. And I went to the fair, and at this time now, it's 37 years since the summary. And when I applied for this, when I appealed the summary in 2009, they said I was 2 votes short, and they denied me. And they said that they denied me, and it would stay on my record till I'm 72 or dead. And when I went to the fair, and at this time now, when I went to the fair, hello?
Yeah.
We're right here.
We got all kinds of things going on here. All right. What happened when you went to the expungement thing?
Okay, they said because it was in Montgomery County that I had to contact Montgomery County.
Right.
So I did that. It contact Montgomery County. They said legal aid will contact me. They gave me a date and a time. I waited by the phone. They never did. So I called back again. They gave me another appointment, date and time. They still never called me back. And I went on Clean Slate. And when I went on Clean Slate, it said that no record found.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, a practical matter here. Why is it, if this is truly a summary offense, okay, now a summary offense is less than a misdemeanor. It's sort of like a traffic ticket. If this is a summary offense, and you're how old now, Anonymous?
68.
Is that 58 or 68?
68.
68. 68. Well, why is it that you need this to be removed from your record? Why is this such an important thing for you?
Okay, to keep asking that. Well, it wasn't at first, but with Social Security, in the balance of being cut and all that, I may have to get a job.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, I think okay, yeah.
Yeah, I really don't think it's worrisome. I think that, if you got a job, if you applied for a job, they probably wouldn't even see this.
You don't think it would come up on any
I doubt
platform?
it. Like,
anywhere?
if she was getting a job at a bank, maybe they might dig really, really, really deep. But most jobs, 38 years old, an offense from 37 years ago, I doubt it. But I will say this, under the new clean slate law, this sounds like an offense that should be able to be expunged. And obviously, if you were willing to pay to have it expunged, somebody would, probably do this for you for, I don't know, maybe $500-600. I'm thinking something along those lines. Maybe less, So if it's that important, I would say get private counsel, unless, you can get through to legal aid.
Yeah.
I mean,
how does she get in touch with the clean slate? It's like, is it just whenever they do it, or?
Well, clean slate's the law. They had these like Philadelphia was really good about having these fairs that she talked about. Out in the counties, I don't think they're doing that. And so out in the counties, she'd have to, and I don't know even if, the public defender would file, legal aid would file something like this for somebody. I'm not sure that they do that. So it's like private counsel, or you're at the whim and will of the Legal Aid Society. The world has changed. There aren't very many people. There aren't many workers in these. I was calling to set up an X-ray, a CAT scan, and I called the number the doctor gave me to call, and they said, hold on, and I was holding. And then it said, leave your number, and you won't lose your place in line, and we'll call you back. Right. You ever hear those things, right? So I left my number. Nobody ever called back. I did this 2 days in a row. Finally, I called the doctor's office. They were able to get into the back door, and they said, oh, you're 84th in line right now. 84th.
What time did you make the initial call? What time of day was it?
All different times. Yeah.
Wow.
84th. Like, don't you think maybe that place, that CAT scanning place, needs more help? They need more people on the phone.
Nah, it costs too much money.
Yeah. It's crazy. Now, I understand when Anonymous says that she can't get anybody from legal aid to help her.
Do you miss the days when you knew you were going to get a live voice when you called an entity?
Yes. Yeah.
Those days are long gone.
Even chat lines. If you go on to chat lines now, you used to have a real person chatting back at you. Now you have a bot chatting at you, an AI bot. And they have a certain kind of menu of things they're going to talk to you about.
It's really just frequently asked questions.
Exactly.
That's all it is. It's the same. It's an algorithm, basically, right?
Yeah. The world today. All right, let's move on. Line 1, we got Tori. Welcome to Court Radio, Tori.
Morning, Tori.
Good morning. How are you fellas doing this morning?
Tori, could you speak a little bit closer? Because I know you're on speakerphone.
Yeah. We hear you.
We
We
hear
hear
you.
you barely.
We hear the
But
traffic.
I want to hear you better.
There you go.
Oh, yes, good morning.
Good
There you
morning,
go.
Tori.
Good
What's
morning.
up? What's your question?
So, my car was involved in a hit and run in April, and the person that hit us, he hit 3 cars at one time. He left the scene, but he also left the car. And we rambunched through the car, and the car had no insurance or anything in it. So I wanted to know, what am I capable of doing?
Well, let me ask you, Tori. Let me ask you. You do have uninsured motorist on your policy, correct?
Correct.
Then you're fine. You know, and were you injured in the accident?
I per se was not injured. No, I was not.
Okay.
But you did have property damage.
You have collision coverage on your car?
Yes, I have everything on there. The car is. I was more upset because he took away from my son. My son is a 9-year in remission. So I had to transport him to all of these appointments, and here you are drunk driving, and you hit 3 cars at one time, and you took away from my child. So I'm more adamant about that part.
Yeah.
That you literally took my needs of transportation for my son.
Well, here's the problem. You don't know who was driving that car, I presume. You know who owns that car, but not necessarily who was driving. And therefore, you know, there's very little you can do. When somebody hits you and they jump out and take off and you can't identify the driver, it's nearly impossible to bring any kind of cause of action against them.
You can't even assume that the owner and the driver are one and the same?
You can't. I mean, sometimes I've sued the owner, brought them in for depositions and questioned them under oath as to whether they were driving and where their whereabouts were. And, you know, I've because I was angry and I just, you know, I was going to do whatever I had to do. But I had a very injured person that was on the other side of that equation. Tori says she's not injured, and I assume her son's not injured. And if you had been injured, you'd have been able to bring a bodily injury claim against your own insurance company to compensate you if you have uninsured motorist. But without injuries and your car is fixed, there's really nothing else to do in that instance except to move on. So there you go. And I know it's not the story you want to hear. It angers me too, and I wasn't even involved. But that's the truth. All right, we got to take a quick break. Thanks, Tori, for your question. We'll be back, folks, in 2 minutes. But if you're watching on YouTube, here we go.
Mr. Ron Brown says,
Mr. Brown.
Ron Brown.
call a different radiology office. I have 2 different ones in South Jersey that I get live people.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
I don't know if my insurance works in South Jersey, but
Yeah.
I mean, I have good insurance. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I guess there are other places to call. I'm going to get angry this week. I'm going to flip out on somebody at this radiology office this week.
Sounds like he's about to
Trust
get
me.
pissed.
Because you can't, you know, you're open for business and you got 84 people on the line. You need to hire more damn people.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Those days are gone, man.
Yes.
Long gone. Call centers and whatnot, they're gone.
Yeah, call centers
We're
are
not going to get to this on the show, but the PPA just went up $1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We knew that was going to happen, folks.
Yeah.
In
Parking
fact,
in
when-
Center City. Parking in Center City went up $1 an hour, and it's still cheap. It's still cheaper than going to a parking garage.
But tell them why they
Because
did it.
because outside of the city they already got people with the parking permits, so
They eating us. They went up from $36 to $75.
yeah, they got
What?
them.
What's parking permits?
We've had this conversation.
No, wait a minute.
Okay,
I
real
live
fast.
in the Oxford Circle on Souter Street. I need a parking permit?
Yes, you would now.
Get the hell
And
out of
guess
here.
What? Your neighbors petitioned to have it. That's
Some-
how stupid. I'm sorry. That's how bright they were.
Some neighborhoods, if they petition in that neighborhood to have parking permits,
2 hours. You got to move your car every 2 hours.
Unless you have a permit.
Unless you have a permit. Unless you pay $75 a year, you have to move your car every 2 hours.
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy.
That's because of the pandemic. Center City started losing money, so the PPA focused on neighborhoods and played you all. And now Center City's still losing money, so they raised that up $1.
So wait, you have a guest who spends the night at your house.
Got to move his car.
Or
every
her.
2 hours. Or her. Every 2 hours. Every 2 hours.
Crazy.
Or you try to find a street that doesn't have it.
Are there signs on every street that has it?
Absolutely. Once you invite them in, there's signs everywhere now. Suckers.
Yeah, we're back. I'm Dean Weitzman, your host. This is Court Radio every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Let's see. Who do we have here? How about line 4, Mike? Oh, Mike. We're all good. We don't have a lot of time.
Morning, Mike.
Give it.
Whoa.
Sounds good. All right. Well, Jeff Gross, who does our workers' comp exclusively, would say, I believe, that there is no workers' compensation claim when it's an intentional act. So when there's animus between two people, the victim of that animus is not able to bring a workers' compensation claim. She can sue the other actor. She could sue the person who attacked her. Does her employer have an obligation to protect her when the employer knows that this is going on? It's a good question. I'm not sure the answer, to be honest with you. My tendency is to go with you don't have a workers' compensation claim. And so that would be my go-to answer, but I would say have the young lady give us a call during the week at 215-227-2727. I would put her in touch with Jeff. Jeff will run through the facts with her to figure out whether he can help her under those circumstances. Is she still working there?
Yeah, and the supervisor didn't document the incident.
And the supervisor didn't document. Yeah, okay. I would say
Cameras?
Well, I don't know. Is there cameras there? Do they have, or witnesses?
Witnesses, cameras, anything? Video?
Yeah.
There were witnesses.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that, I'm going to go with the fact that she's going to be able to prove her case. If the supervisor isn't documenting it or intervening to assist her, I would definitely report it to the supervisor's manager. I would go up the chain of command, and I would document it in writing using emails, because if they attempt to fire her for having made that, claim, I think that they might be on the hook for a retaliatory firing. She might be able to bring a claim for her wages if they let her go. So I would document it. I would document it in writing. Emails are great. And I would move it up the chain of command. That would be my advice. And she can give us a call this week at 215-227-2727. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Fellas. We got 3 minutes?
We got 3 minutes. I want to just talk very quickly about the Philadelphia School District is facing criminal charges over asbestos management.
Wow.
Consider that. Criminal. Who's going to go to jail? Well, they'll be fined.
That's a good question.
They'll be fined in criminal court. I don't know if anybody's going to go to jail, but the charges have been put on hold for 5 years to give them an opportunity to get their act together.
There is asbestos in 300 of the 339
Yeah,
buildings?
could you believe that? That means it was no doubt in all the schools I grew up in.
Same here. We all grew up breathing that stuff.
Spruance Elementary, Fells Junior High, and Northeast High School. I'm probably asbestos out.
This used to be a big deal. Asbestos removal used to be a huge deal in Philadelphia.
It wasn't enough of a big deal. I think, we were all wondering why they were closing schools. They were closing schools because they were trying to sidestep the asbestos issue, in my opinion.
And not to sell them off for condominiums?
And the remediation efforts that they undertake are less than adequate.
Right.
So they're in remediating, they're trying to get rid of the asbestos, but they're doing it in a way that it's just going out into the environment.
Yeah, like they're using duct tape or something.
Yeah, or just ducts where at the bottom of the duct it is open, so they're pulling the stuff out. It goes down that like metal, thing, and it goes into a dumpster. That's not the way. I mean, these guys go in real asbestos remediation crews, hazmat suits.
Yeah, big time.
And they're handling it a certain way. Well, they're not handling it a certain way.
Who gets subpoenaed for this?
Probably some maintenance guy. Yeah, probably some maintenance guy got subpoenaed. They asked him, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know, he said. They just told me to take this stuff out of here.
I did what I was told.
Yeah. 300, though, of 339 buildings have asbestos. That's insane.
That's 1% of the, that was even
10%.
done? 10%?
10% doesn't have
Doesn't
it.
have it.
90% does.
God,
Yeah.
that's scary, man.
How about Frankfurt High School? Did they close Frankfurt High School?
No, they closed Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's closed. It's closed right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's closed.
So you're saying, Tack, you think that's why these schools really closed?
That's what I think.
I was, I
You
take
know, like
my kid
Germantown
now.
High?
I take
Yeah.
my kid now to Martin Luther King High School for basketball practice.
Up on
That's right.
West Oak Lane, right?
Yeah. I wonder if he's getting asbestos in the gym.
How does he feel? You've been coughing? I mean, might be
Hey,
something to look into, man.
Jackson, cough. You got asbestos. All right. It's not a laughing matter.
It's not. It's really serious.
Folks, we are just about out of time. We'll see you next Saturday, same time, same place. YouTube.
Ron Brown says, first off, he says Team Android. Ron Brown.
Ron, it too, Ron.
He also says South Jersey Radiology. Try them.
South Jersey.
On Saturdays, too.
All right.
Ron, you play golf? Come on over to 3030 in Oxford. Strawberry Green driving range. Get a bucket of balls on yours, too.
All right.
He does not play golf. Guys who have Androids don't play golf.
Sure they do.
All right. 'Cause I don't know if it's I'm gonna tell you a story.
You're telling them a story.
No, I'm gonna tell everybody a story.
YouTube's on.
YouTube's on. It's all
right.
good.
Okay.
Team's
All
like
right.
FYI.
I'm gonna tell you a story. So, if y'all don't know, right?
Oh, don't even look. Come on.
Oh, we went in.
Don't interrupt the story.
Go ahead.
So, just to know, my car got stolen again. Right?
Again? Wait. Since the last time we talked?
No. Since that 1 week when I told you.
okay.
Right.
When was your car stolen?
2 Mondays ago.
Okay.
All right.
How you knew was your car? What year was it?
Since 2015.
It's a Kia.
It's a Kia. All right?
2015
But-
Kia.
Right. But here's
Oh,
guess
they
what?
don't have locks on them.
Right. But there was a recall that was supposed to be done.
Yes.
You put okay. So I bought it in for the recall.
Yes.
Right. And they supposedly had put it in. Right.
Put what in?
The recall, so that they
part,
put it over.
whatever
They
it
put it
was.
over the ignition, so that they can't get to the ignition to steal the car if you don't have a
Right.
key. Right. So they stole the car after the recall.
Right.
Right. So they go, well, I don't know. Maybe they didn't put the recall part in correctly. Right. So when they repaired the car,
Oh, you got it back.
right, that time I got it back. When they repaired the car, they didn't put the recall back in there when they repaired the car. Mm-hmm. So that's why it got stolen again.
Wait. What, the part that they recalled the car for, they gave it back, but they didn't replace the part.
They
whatever
didn't
that is.
replace the recall part when they.
But they
the
did take
fix.
your car.
They took my car again because they never put the recall when
Okay.
they
I'm
repaired it
caught
the
up. I
last
got
time.
you, yeah.
Right. So now they.
He has a Kia, by the way.
Right.
Right.
So now they take it again. Now I had a false sense of security because I would have thought that if you put it in the car, you re-put it in the recall, which they didn't. Now the car is total.
Oh, you found the car again.
They found the car again, but this time it's total. Right. So
You
now,
have collision coverage on that car?
yeah,
Damn.
but they totaled it.
You got paid.
They get paid. That pays it off. Pays off the car. I don't get anything.
Oh, you owed more than the car was worth
Yes. So
on a
like
10-year-old car.
that's right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that I have to pay, I paid 2 deductibles. right? I have to pay off the $600 and everything like that. Now, my thing is, didn't it start with the negligence of them not putting in the recall correctly in the first place?
What were you upside down?
$686. Talking.
What was the car worth?
Car was worth $9,000.
What do you owe?
I owe $668 somewhere in that area.
So they gave the whole $9,000 to your loan company.
They gave whatever the cash value is that
What's
they
the
determined.
cash value?
86 and some change.
And you owed $9.
And I owed $9 and change.
Okay.
So it's a difference of $660.
So what you're asking me is, Dean, should I file suit against Kia to get back my $600?
Right.
Because they screwed me by not putting the right part in.
And guess what? And both deductibles.
Okay. And both deductibles. Yes. Go to small claims court and it'll be Eric Jackson versus Kia Motor Company and maybe the dealership. Include the dealership and put down all your damages, and I guarantee you they'll pay you that money. Guarantee it. All you got to do is get your ass down to municipal court in Philadelphia.
I think that's one. I think that's
all right, folks. YouTube. I hope you liked Eric's long story because I gave him a short answer. We'll see you next Saturday, same time, same place.